back, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in this part of this edition of the Breakfast Show, we're going to be talking about the role of the media, the future of TV and print journalism, as well as sorts of media and its progress. We will be discussing the recent developments in the field of how the internet and the social media is playing a major part in our lives today. Not only our ordinary social life or full socializing, but actually in the political field as well. As you all know, the internet and the social media, the media in general, plays perhaps the major part in every development around the globe. It is very important, and now the media has changed because it is not what you just listen or hear or watch, but the people are taking part in the process. The people themselves are becoming part of the news. They are using their mobile phones, for example, to film an incident that they see in the street, and they post it on the internet. And now mobile phones are available for all the people. It's not only limited to a particular segment of the society. So this is becoming very important, because perhaps this is, as it may have its positive effects, it could also have its negative effects. And in order to talk more about this very important issue, I'm very much delighted to have with me here in the studio Mrs. Dalia Gebaly. She is a journalist, and perhaps she is the expert, and she can tell us more about it. Good morning to you, Mrs. Dalia. Good morning.
Good morning. If you can tell us about the role and significance of the media, and as Hera is referring to specifically the social media.
Nowadays you cannot differentiate between the internet users and the social media users and the effect in the mainstream media. All over the world, and especially America, you can find that the mainstream media, or the traditional one, is getting reduced, and they are suffering from lack audience nowadays, and many people started to have their own initiatives on the internet to have new kind of media, like internet, radio, broadcast television, or specialized websites for specialized locations, because it's becoming easier to use it or to be an audience for them through smartphones and mobiles and that stuff. So the same time that audience are reducing from the digital media, we are getting more and more engaged to social media and the internet ones. That's why
I believe, sorry to interrupt you, but I believe that in an attempt by those quote-unquote mainstream media to cope with the social media, they had on their websites special segments, or specially dedicated to independent reporting and to sharing videos on YouTube, for instance, or Twitter, or other social networking websites, in order to cope with the fast-growing social media.
This is a very controversial issue inside any newsroom, especially for the mainstream media, in order how to be coping with the ongoing situation and ongoing reporting. Because you cannot, you used to have like one newsroom meeting a day to have the print media, and let's say the same, or maybe twice for the public, for the radio and television broadcast media. But nowadays it's like it's minute by minute updating, and this may have like the conflict of having following these updates to be up-to-date and competing the internet media, and at the same time you have to be more accurate, you have to be more responsible for what you are saying, and that's why it is really a conflict inside many newsrooms around the world, and that's why we are trying to have their own internet divisions, and sometimes it's somehow different or separated from what they are airing in the normally in the mainstream media. And I was telling you that there is a trend nowadays for many journalists who are affected by the policy of these kind of media, the editing policy, and what is to be aired and what is not, and they created their own channels and their own independent journalism. And it is kind of entrepreneurship media, which we are trying to spread the idea all over the world, and especially in Egypt. That's why we are founding a kind of an institute called Independent Journalism Institute, and it will be the first one of its kind in the Middle East, and especially in Egypt.
Is it any similar to Reporters Without Borders?
No, it's not. It's not that one. It's mainly about. It's an institute for training. It's dedicated mainly for training and empowering journalists and media people to be more efficient, more able to accept pluralism and different point of views, and to be independent from the effect of money and the business owners.
Exactly, because this is what caught my attention, the name, independent journalist. And I was going to ask you, independent from what or whom? Why did you choose independent? Why do you want to, whom do you want to be independent from?
Independent from the capital, independent from the political point of views and ideologies, independent from any kind of interest that may be spread through the media as a tool. It's not. But this doesn't mean that we are not going to, or the journalists who are going to be trained in this institute will be totally objective, because it couldn't be. But they will be able to apply as much objectivity and code of ethics that should be applied. And when they are dealing with opinions, they will tell that it is an opinion. You will not be able to talk about any opinions as a kind of information or data that is trusted to.
You've raised a very controversial issue here, speaking about ethical and ethics and the media code of ethics. To what extent nowadays, 2014, we should deem a story airing it ethical or not, filming someone without taking his permission? Things are getting different now. So what are the standards, the basic standards that we should follow as journalists or as media professionals in regards to the media code of ethics?
First, we need to agree that we in Egypt don't have a clear code of ethics that all the media people are following. And each country has its own code of ethics, and each great institution of journalism broadcast has its own kind of code of ethics that can apply only for the editing strategy. But in general, there are some kind of rules or values that we should apply. Like transparency, like the completeness of the story, not to be divided from the whole story. Also the accuracy, to be accurate in what you are saying, to be balanced, and not to be biased by one opinion against the other. But it is possible to say your opinion, and it is opinion. You can tell it as an opinion, but because we are human beings and we to express yourself, because you are working in expression media. So balance, and also to be the sourcing, to be clear the sourcing, because many kind of news are not well sourced or not identified the source, and this is a really great problem that we are all suffering from, because it may be like a spread of readings.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now, media perhaps is a very dangerous weapon. It's a double-edged weapon. It has its positive side, but negative sides as well. And many people are using the media even to launch even personal wars on the internet when it comes to even the simple social life. I'm not talking about politics. I could be talking about people, ordinary people who were friends, and they start to attack each other even using the media and the social media in this regard. And of course, the political factions or the various political trends use the media in order to advocate and promote their own ideologies and their own way of thinking. And we have seen this very clear during the past few years since the 25th of January 2011 revolution, and how the media was used in the first place to ignite the first wave of the revolution, and later on the 30th of June, and how the Muslim Brotherhood were using, or the supporters of the Muslim Brotherhood were using the media in order to gain support in Egypt and around the world, and they were using a very ferocious media campaign. How do you see that?
Again, it's kind of media ethics. But also we can say that political ideologies need to be represented in the media, and we have to have their campaigns and their spoken outlets for their ideas and point of views. But how these outlets can be used, and how can they speak about their staff and their campaign, their claims. This is